Hey guys, what's going on? My name is LJ Regine. I am the owner of RoxFire Fitness. Welcome to our first ever podcast, RoxFire RoxStars. It's an opportunity for you guys to get to know about me, about my gym a little bit, and my awesome members that are in it. We've got Joey. Joey, how do you say your last name? I always fuck it up.
Guarnacha.
Joey Guarnacha. He is Italian.
Yes.
You're Italian. I'm Italian as well, bro.
Yep.
It's all in the
So
family.
you're gonna see a lot of hands flying.
Lots of hands flying from both of us today. So just to kind of tell you a little bit about why this came about, I really wanted an opportunity to share with you guys, the audience, who my members are, because what makes our community are the people in it. And there's so many fascinating stories that I pick up as head coach and owner just talking to people, and I wanted to give voice to some of that. And Joey's got a really, really fascinating story. I'm really hyping you up, bro. So it better be a good story today. So we're just going to talk a little bit, and thank you guys for joining us. So Joey, tell me a little bit about you. First thing I want to know is, where are you from, and how did you end up here in our beautiful city of Fort Lauderdale?
So my family's from New York.
New York City, New York State?
Queens.
Queens.
Yes,
okay, cool.
Astoria.
Where I lived for a while.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. We talked about that. Then they moved me down when I was like 4.
Okay.
So I grew up here. Grew up in Weston, Florida.
Okay.
So about 25 minutes west.
How did you get to the beach? You just were drawn to it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like all my friends, I went to high school out here at St. Thomas Aquinas, and all my friends out here hung out around the beach. We just, a lot of my friends, we just did beach things. We went skimboarding when we were little, and I've always gravitated towards the beach. So I knew once I got older and after I came back from college, I just tried my best to get out here. And ever since I got out here, I was able to, make it work. It's
awesome. How old are you, Joey?
29.
29. Okay, so we're cusping on 30 here. When's your birthday?
July 27th. So
it just happened. Yeah. That's right. It just happened. So you got one more year in your 20s.
Yep.
What would you say is something that you're looking forward to leaving behind about your 20s, and then something you're excited about getting into your 30s?
I thought about this recently, and I think it's towards my 25, the middle of my 20s.
Yeah.
I believe that I started to become kind of like lackadaisical or like soft, for lack of a better word. And
what do you mean by soft?
Like, just not attacking like goals, or not having, like, not being driven, not doing things.
So like unmotivated in a way.
Unmotivated, you know, and a lot of it was like coming out of college and being so comfortable with the family business, having everything given to me almost, and just having.
So did you say that your family runs a business?
Yeah, my family ran a business in Weston.
Okay.
It started in New York, and my dad came down.
Yeah.
It was a logistics business, and the plan was after college, I'd come and work for the family business, which I did. So,
and then you realized you didn't like it.
Yeah. That mixed with some other things just led me away from the business and out of my comfort zone. And that's what I meant by becoming kind of softish, and and I'm not afraid to like say how I became that time, because I think it's
important. It's part of your journey. And I think that's, and I think a lot of times when people come into this room, when they start CrossFit and then do stuff, they're afraid to share what they're vulnerable about. And as I'm sure like part of this experience of lifting weights, learning new skills and all that is being able to be super comfortable being like, I don't know how to do this, or I can't lift that weight, or that's not a skill that makes sense to me. So, kind of paralleling that, I think we all go through that in our 20s. We're like, what the fuck? And you have to be like real with yourself and be like, you know what? Like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I like this. And then that really pushes you towards something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what got me into what made that switch was kind of jump into something else right now, but was my personal experience with like counseling.
Yeah.
And so my counselor or therapist was a coach at a CrossFit on 17th Street.
Yeah.
So she brought me into CrossFit as part of my treatment and everything. And that's when the switch started with, like being comfortable and everything handed to me to, okay, maybe this is the route I want to go and start.
Because for you, it was like you were starting to take charge of it and you were
Mm-hmm.
grabbing it for yourself.
Yeah. And it became like an addicting thing to do. And I played baseball in college. I played sports my whole life. So I had that kind of hardcore schedule in college. And when I got out of college, I had my own apartment, working, making decent money. And then, you lose that like fire to
and they kind of like jump onto what you're saying there. I think that's a problem. Yeah, I definitely felt that in my 20s as well. And I think that our generation, especially, there are so many options, there are so many things out there. It's kind of like when you sit down on Netflix sometimes and you don't know what to pick. You kind of don't know which way to go. I feel like the generation before us, they had a lot more like, okay, this is the expectation. You're going to go to college, you're going to get a good job, and then you're going to succeed, build a family, get married, settle down, that whole sort of thing. And then our parents kind of taught to us, well, what makes you happy, right? And I don't think their parents were asking them, what makes you happy? It was like, when are you going to get a job, And for us, I think we get so caught up because we get into our heads about like, okay, like, what do I really want? Like, who am I? What makes me happy? What motivates me? Did you feel like you kind of had like a, what am I all about moment? Like, what do I want?
Yeah. That was,
tell me a little bit about
towards
that.
the end of working so I ended up quitting the family business and going back to grad school. And that was when, I got my core friends together and we talked and, we asked each other questions like that. Like, well, what makes you get up in the morning? Like, what type of stuff? And it was just a hard thing to answer at that time
because you didn't know.
Because I didn't know. I was just taking the easy path.
Path of least resistance.
Yeah. Shout out David Goggins. And it was easy, and I thought that was the way it was supposed to go. I got out of college and then straight into comfort, and then I was like, oh, this would be an easy life, and like working, thinking that things last forever, and they don't. And
so now you have a career path that you're on. Tell us a little bit about what it is that you do now.
So after going through my own counseling at the end of college and into around 23, 24, I decided to go back to school for mental health counseling. So right now I'm about to finish one more semester left in mental health counseling. And I chose that because basically it was my own experience. And I think a lot of people in the field have had their own experience with counseling, and they see it as something they could do as a career. And I saw it as something I could do as a career. And
so getting a little bit deeper into this, I know because you've shared with me, you have struggled with addiction. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I think that's really important to share, because it's made you who you are today and why you're doing what you're doing. So can you talk me through a little bit about what that period of your life was like?
Yeah. So I was first introduced to prescription drugs in college when I was on the long road trips to Tennessee. They gave me Xanax, they gave me whatever to calm me down on the long road trips. And then, of course, in college,
like your friends or
no, the
doctors.
Yeah, doctors.
Oh, you were prescribed.
All prescribed stuff. Yeah. So,
and you were taking long road trips for sports?
For sports, yeah. So on the way back, I was getting like claustrophobic in the bus. I was first getting introduced to anxiety. I didn't really know what anxiety was or anxious feelings in high school and stuff.
Or maybe they were there, but you didn't really have a word for them and didn't know.
Yeah. So I had a hard time with like how I was feeling. And then so that's when I started getting introduced to prescription drugs. And that just escalated into kind of just like drug seeking with the doctors and going back and looking for the Adderall, Xanax, anything. I mean, those were the main two. And then it just jumped up, just basically conning the doctors into giving me more and more and more.
But I mean, were you conning them, or like were they happy to sort of fulfill that?
It was easy
that need. Yeah.
It was easy to get it. It was easy to do, and I think it's a big issue now.
Do you see that as a problem, like the overprescription of these kinds of drugs?
I mean, I was never even tested for ADD. It was just given to me, and I was at getting.
So you walk in, you describe your symptoms, and they're like, okay, cool, you probably need this. And they write you a script and you're out the door.
Yep. And I just blow. And the way I was doing, I was just taking it not as prescribed and just blowing through it in 2 weeks. And then, you're taking the Xanax to go to sleep. And that terrible loop just started this whole 5 years of my life that like, I look back on it and it just wasn't me. I mean, I lost friends, my good core friends didn't know who I was. You start staying out late, you start irrational behavior, gambling, trying to think of
did it lead to like a lot of drinking and like recreational drugs?
That it always led to if I was out of what I was prescribed, I was searching for other stuff to the same feeling, because at some certain point you just felt like you couldn't do anything, couldn't get up and go to work
if you didn't have drug. And then, so what was the moment where you were like, whoa, like this is not the right path for me to be on?
Probably right when I chose to go to school for mental health counseling, because I lied to my therapist that I was not taking it still for about half a year, because I didn't want her to think that I was still using and staying up all night playing video games on Adderall, Xanax, whatever that I could, And the moment happened when I went to grad school. I was like, I can't be helping people if I don't help myself first. It was a big thing in the first few classes of self-care. And within that self-care is when I got introduced to CrossFit.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was like a teacher or an instructor that
it was my therapist. That was a coach, also at CrossFit, and just said you should try it out because I have this competitive nature, with the sports and stuff. And she threw it in there, and I went, and I knew that I couldn't keep living the using life if I was gonna.
When was that? How long ago was that?
It was when I was around 26.
26.
So
cool.
3-ish years ago.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. And so, or not crazy, but like amazing. So what was it about when you first joined your CrossFit gym and you were at Empirical?
Yeah.
Cool. What was it about that experience for you that, besides the competitiveness, like what was like the aha moment that you may have had doing that where you're like, this works for me?
I think it was when I went in and I was nervous for the first week. Obviously the movements can be difficult, but it was just like it is here with the super one-on-one and there to help you. So it started to feel like just going to the gym. And then once I started to get to know everyone in the gym and the community and stuff, I wanted to put my best effort into the gym. I wanted people to see my best version.
You wanted to be the best version of yourself.
And I wanted other people I wanted to bounce off other people and talk about it. I didn't want to be going to the gym and then going to get messed up after. It just didn't go together.
Right.
And I was happy about it.
It was like a positive spiral up as opposed to a spiral down for you.
And I mean, I still I have to keep myself straight, but I could go out of, I could get crazy sometimes, but I know that it's going to mess up my goals with fitness. And within that fitness, it's my mental health. It goes hand in hand with coming to the gym.
And I think that a lot of people don't necessarily realize that. And that's kind of something that is important to speak about, is how fitness and mental health really do work well together. And you can probably speak more to this with, your career path and going to school, but can you talk a little bit about the link there between your physical health and your mental health?
So personal experience, it's, when I'm consistent with the gym, I'm a completely different person.
Yeah.
I I don't know. I know a little bit about the science, and there's growing science with exercise being, I mean, amazing for your mental health. And
And it's something, just to kind of interject
mhm,
real fast, is Greg Glassman, who owns CrossFit. Something that he's been very passionate about the past couple of years is teaching doctors, which is crazy that you have to teach doctors, but kind of introducing this idea in the medical community that not everything is solved with pills and surgery,
mhm,
right? What about these core factors that are happening in your life, right? Are you getting enough sleep?
mhm,
Are you eating well? Are you exercising? Looking at those core factors before starting to think about, oh, this person needs a prescription, this person needs this, needs that. It's like we're constantly looking for a solution. We're constantly trying to paint over rust. Do
yeah,
you know what I
I
mean?
love that.
In the
Yeah.
medical profession, and so you kind of being a prime example of like, I didn't need pills. I just needed to work out, get
Yeah,
sleep, and eat well.
absolutely.
Um,
And the pills weren't doing that. So
exactly.
taking Adderall all night, and you're staying up, you're
Yeah.
not eating well. I look completely different, sucked out. And none of those core, I was not getting any of those core
Yeah.
factors. But I'm huge on those. And I like that you said that, because whenever I talk to someone and they just feel like they're struggling, that's one of the first three things that
Right.
I get to. Are you sleeping, eating, and
Because what if we
exercising?
address those issues for people, right? If we
Mhm.
address those issues before we even get to this,
Yeah.
all the drugs and like all the other stuff, and not to take anything away from mental health counseling at all, even having just that conversation with
Mhm.
somebody, but we need to make more space in our society. And I think our generation, which is really cool, is like a little bit more hip to that. We're kind of
Mhm.
breaking the rules a little bit and being like, all right, like, let's look at, like, can you maybe just get a gym membership and let's
Yeah.
motivate you to get to the gym and then come back to me in a month, and are you still feeling as
Mhm.
anxious? If it's decreasing, then we know we're doing something right. We're on that
Right.
path, as opposed to like, all right, well, I guess you need some Adderall, you need
Yeah.
some whatever it is, here you go.
Yeah.
Not that Adderall doesn't treat depression or anxiety. It helps you
It
get
can,
focused,
yeah, yeah.
right?
It can treat
Yeah.
depression as well.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah, because it gets you up and motivated and stuff.
Got it. Got it.
Um, yeah. I had something I was going to say, but I completely forgot.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just hopping in here because you're saying great stuff. So it's just
No, no.
making me think of.
I had something at the tip of my tongue that
Yeah.
was going to bounce off that, but
Yeah. So do you feel like now going forward, when you're treating patients or when you're seeing people, a part of your practice is asking them
right.
about those core things that are happening in their lives?
And that reminds me what I was going to
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
My
go ahead.
therapist was big on those things because
That's
she was doing
awesome.
it herself.
What's her name?
Um,
You can say her first name. You don't have to say her.
Lisa.
Lisa.
Yeah.
Oh, like the Lisa.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not the Lisa.
Oh,
A different Lisa.
A different
coach.
Lisa.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So not the former owner of Empirical.
No.
Okay, a
No.
different
She was a
Lisa.
coach there. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Shout out to
Lisa. Yeah.
She changed everything.
She changed your life. And,
Yeah.
and again, like, just that impact that one person can have on your life. I mean, and I think it's something that I strive for. I know it's something that you strive for, is that we don't realize we're in this world right now where it's like computers, cell phones, all this technology, all these screens, right? But just connecting one-on-one with somebody, it's really fucking powerful thing. And it's really cool that you are living that for yourself now. So where's Joey headed? Like, what are the next steps for Joey? Since we're talking about your third person now, what are your next steps in your life right now?
I'm pretty close to graduating.
Okay.
So in the education world,
Yeah.
I'm close, and I'm looking to get a job in the adolescents, working with hopefully from like 13 to 20, 19. That's what I did my internship at a day treatment facility, and I really love that because I feel like
young people are what
you could really
mold
like
those people. Yeah,
you could talk to them or just get them aware of kind of like the wrong path to go, and not always not trust your doctors, but not always just fall back on, like we were saying, the prescriptions and stuff, and have a game plan, and see the importance of eating correctly and sleeping. And if you could see past Friday nights and the drinking, it's you're gonna do it, and it's gonna college is where I think a lot of youths like make the switch to like either drinking too much or using too much, and it's kind of normalized, and then they come out of college. So I just want to, I like working with them just to give them.
You're going to set a frame of reference for them so that they know that like there is a path that you can follow that is a healthier path.
Yeah. And if you're feeling down or if you have these symptoms, it's okay to talk to people.
100%.
It's not, you're not weak.
Yeah, if you can be vulnerable about this sort of stuff, which is, again, you're a living example of that by coming on here and RoxFire, RoxStars, and just kind of talking to me about it. So I appreciate that so much, dude.
Yeah, I think the only other setting that I've talked about it is probably in a counseling session of, with me and my counselor or.
Well, I say that my job all the time is I'm basically a therapist for people. Yeah. So like a fitness therapist.
Well, that's what that's when they closed down, unfortunately, that's what I looked for.
When Empirical closed and you were looking for a new gym. I was looking
for someone that understands those concepts and those factors of what I'm looking for, why I want a gym. And it's not just getting stronger or fitness.
Absolutely.
There was so many other factors in that, and I just saw it here immediately. It was almost like those other factors were just as important, just as equal. And
and thank you for saying that. I think that's one thing that's really important to me when people walk in the door is to feel that instant connection with my team, with myself, and understand that, I've got 10 principles of thinking on the wall over there. Like, this is about fitness. Sure, people come in because they want to look good naked and lose weight, but it's also about your mindset. It's also about the person that you're choosing to be and how to become a better version of yourself through fitness. So I appreciate that you realize that, immediately. That's awesome. That's something that I strive for. So thank you for that. I do have some, now that my computer has gone to sleep, I do have some questions that are lighter than talking about addiction.
But addiction is out there.
Addiction is out there.
There's a lot of people that you'd be surprised that are just in that loop.
They're struggling with
waking up.
Yeah.
And doing the same thing, and they just can't get out of it. And I just think I'm not a special case.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that if they really put the focus into making that change, and because when you're not yourself or you're doing something
off.
Isn't, you're not acting yourself, something's off. And I think.
So you would say one of those steps would be join a local CrossFit gym.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to kind of jump off of that, when I joined my first gym when I was 22, I didn't have like a friend group at that point. I had graduated college. I was out in the real world, and whoever my friends were who I was working with. And I felt like, because when you're in your early 20s, you're kind of changing jobs. You're not sure what you're doing. I wanted to be an actor at that point. So I had always these odd jobs. And CrossFit, when I joined, was the first place that I felt like I had regularity in seeing people and able to build that relationship. And it's awesome because you come in for an hour and there are no screens besides, your sign-in screen. Mm-hmm. You're not on your phone. You're connecting with other people.
Yep.
And I think that's even really valuable itself, just the ability to connect with other people just by coming to class an hour a day. That can be really therapeutic and really healing, just to like have that human interaction outside of your workplace.
Absolutely. And also looking forward to coming in, because there's been a lot of times where there's an option to go out, the night before or something, or anything that gets in the way of your goals at the gym.
Yeah.
I think just trickles down to other aspects in life, just the eating. You don't want to eat like shit before you come or after, you start to get in this like rhythm,
and you're just more discerning and more like, deliberate about the choices you are making outside because of the progress, the time, the energy, the money that you're spending on your gym experience. So part of this is me inviting you, if this is someone, if Joey's somebody that you identify with, if his story is similar to your story, come talk to us. We'd love to have you, love to have a conversation with you, get you in the gym for a workout, and see if we can help you reach those goals that you want to reach. So Joey, you're a new addition to the Cran Box.
Okay.
What color would you be and why? We're just changing it up now. We're changing it up.
It's hard not to channel John Mayer with the magenta. I don't know if you heard him talk about magenta.
No, what did he say?
There's this, I think he said it in an interview, but he said, I want to be the magenta. you're saying
Of course
crayon
you would.
box? Yeah, you wanted to be like the unknown, like the I think this is in his egotistical days.
Yeah.
And I forget what the story is behind the magenta, but
So would you like to be magenta? Is that what you're
no,
saying, Joey?
I think I would like to be something bold.
Something bold, yes. Train bold, live wild. Tying it back to RoxFire. Yeah, so I would be like a RoxFire orange, because orange is one of our colors.
Yeah.
So like I've always loved orange. I don't know why. It's kind of a random color because it's kind of loud.
Yeah.
I'm kind of loud. But it always reminds me of fall. Because that was my favorite season back up north. I guess I'm super basic. I don't know. Halloween's my favorite holiday. I could enjoy a nice pumpkin spice latte.
It's definitely a popular time, the fall with the leaves, and not so much down here, but
down here. But like everyone puts on like decorations where they're like leaves, and I'm like, this is really interesting. Like we're just channeling like dead leaves in this like lush tropical paradise. Okay, so you would say something. I'd
say something maybe like I don't know my colors too well, but I would do like a dark blue.
Ooh, a dark blue.
Yeah. Even into purple.
You're so deep, Joey. That's just that dark blue. You need that.
Yeah, deep blue.
Dark blue. Deep blue sea. Yes, there's the color. All right. What is the funniest thing that has happened to you recently? What's the funniest thing?
That's hard.
That you can remember.
I can't remember anything that's funny.
That's okay. It's kind of a random question.
Yeah, it is. I'm sure I'll think of it during the next question.
Yeah. Okay. If you were a singer, what would the name of your debut album be? Or a rapper. You could be a rapper too if you want to. Mine would be Here I Am.
Here I Am. Oh shoot. Mine would be Heading Out West.
Heading Out West. Even though you came out east from out west.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Heading Out West. That sounds like a country album.
Yeah. Like a folky, like acoustic.
Yeah.
Type of album.
I love it. If I gave you $100,000 right now to start a business, what would your dream business be?
A mental health facility.
A mental health facility.
And I'd probably try to make it like an adolescent, youth mental health facility it's not, your typical waiting area, maybe things to interact with in the waiting area, maybe something that.
And would there be a fitness component to it?
Yeah, that would be the dream, right?
Awesome.
Like something like either next door or like a facility linked with, because it's half of it's more. It's like, that would be awesome.
I love it, man.
Upstairs where they go work out, then
sky's the limit for you, dude. If you want to create that, the world is there for you to do that. Okay, last thing is you have 2 minutes right now. If you had to give one message to the world, just one message of here's who I am, here's what I think, what would you say to the world? If the whole world was tuned into our podcast right now and listening, and there's one thing that you would want to say to them, what would that be? Okay, I've got 2 minutes on the clock. We'll start in 5, 3, 2, 1. All yours, Joey.
I would say to not worry about expressing your feelings. Don't worry about being emotional, and don't worry about talking about this with someone. If there's things happening in your life that you feel are hurting more than you think they should be, then talk to someone, reach out to your friends, get in a community, get into a gym community. Just have goals and just know that there's going to be obstacles for the rest of your life. And when they hit, just be ready for them. Prepare yourself for when shit hits the fan, because it's going to hit the fan your whole life. More things are going to come up. I know I've had a really good upbringing at everything, but I still had obstacles, and those were choices I made. Just don't be afraid to talk to someone. I think, I always bring it back to mental health, and I think the break down the stigma and just be you.
Awesome.
And don't settle for less just because someone said one thing to you. You know, those are others people issues that they try to project on you sometimes, and just be yourself and go after what you want to do.
Awesome. Dude, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
being
man.
the first guest here on RoxFire RoxStars. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you to Joey. You can check out our podcast. We'll be doing 2 podcasts a month going forward. So thank you guys so much for listening. Check us out on the web at roxfirefitness.com. You can also find us on Instagram at RoxFireFitness and Facebook RoxFire Fitness as well. Thank you guys for joining us. And remember to train bold so you can live wild.